this computer. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. Ignacy and Portal Games.
And this is Stephen Bonacore, the Podfather of Gaming. You are listening to episode 178, and we're recording on January 17th, 2021. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and the only person who is worse than Ignacy at predicting the future of the hobby game industry is Tom Vassell. So Ignacy, you're at least better than one person.
Well, I'm doing my best, and one day I will predict everything.
Yes. This, by the way, to all our fans out there, is our annual predictions episode. Absolutely my favorite episode of the year, and we get a lot of compliments on it. It's just a lot of fun to try to predict the future and see how we were right 1 year later. I know that last year I predicted a global pandemic, so I would have won then. No, I did not predict a global pandemic. Nobody predicted a global pandemic. What a crazy year it was. But let's see. We'll go right into it. How did we do from last year's predictions? So, first of all, in the year before that, I beat Ignacy 6-5, and I have won most of these. I think you won 1 year, but I've won most of these prediction games. Do you know that? Do you realize that?
I'm pretty confident that.
You're pretty confident that. Okay. So last year, for the 2020 predictions, this is what we did. I said that a female designer would design a game published in 2020 that will be in the top 5 rated games on Board Game Geek. And Ignacy, you disagreed with that prediction, though you said specifically that you hope to be wrong. But it's still a stretch because there's just not as many female designers out there. So I went and I looked at the top 5 games from 2020 on the BGG rating system, and the top 5 are Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, On Mars, Eclipse, Second Dawn of the Galaxy, Viscounts of the Western Kingdom, Calico, and number 6 is Lost Runes of Arnak, which is co-designed by a nice lady named Min and her partner, Min and Esser, I believe his name is, something like that. They're a design team. They've been designing for a while. Number 6, I was very, very close, but I did not win. So,
but I'm happy for me that I won this prediction, and I'm happy to see that, being serious, there's more and more women designing games and amazing games, and I definitely see a trend. I don't remember 10 years ago that we were discussing these amazing games like from Elizabeth. I myself have 2 developers in Portal Games. So yeah, we are basically getting in the right direction.
Yeah.
And still I won the point. So this is like a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation right there. So Stephen 0, Ignacy 1. Ignacy's first prediction was that Frosthaven will be in the top 6 Kickstarters of all time. And I disagreed. And boy, was I wrong. How wrong can I be? Frosthaven made $12.9 million on Kickstarter, becoming the number 1 game Kickstarter of all time. At the time, I had not played Gloomhaven. I had not realized how freaking amazing the game is. The depth of design and development on a game like that is just amazing. So Ignacy got another point there. Stephen 0, Ignacy 2.
And yes, and looking back, I definitely was able to say like top 3. Like I could go like. Yeah. Now, as we know how it went, yes, obviously, there's so many people who love Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
And these are these returning customers who play the Gloomhaven and love it. And then all these new customers who discover just the system. So, yeah, now it seems like super obvious prediction, right?
Now it's an easy one.
Yeah.
But back then, it was like, wow, he did it once. Can he do it again? Well, guess what? Isaac did it again. Amazing stuff. Second prediction from last year. Stephen predicted at least one noted hobby board game publisher will go out of business in 2020. And Ignacy agreed, hoping it doesn't happen, but he said it likely will. And as far as I know, Ignacy, that did not happen. Is that correct? I don't believe anybody announced leaving the industry, going out on the publishing level.
So once again, let's hope it didn't happen. But I think COVID was very difficult for all of us. And I know, as we discussed with our friends from different publishers, there was many publishers, smaller publishers, who had a difficult time with all these lockdowns and problems in distribution. So maybe there is some publishers who are out of the business, and we don't even know that.
That is very
Because
possible.
it was not a big announcement. You don't make a big announcement, hey, I'm out of the business, I just bankrupt. So for sure, when we were doing this prediction, we didn't see COVID coming. So
That's right.
yeah, it was very difficult year. Hopefully we're all in a not very awesome condition, but we will survive. But definitely there was a very difficult year for all of us.
I mean, in general terms, though, with such an event like COVID worldwide, this is the absolute proof that this industry is so solid, so secure. We had a global, you can almost call it depression, if not a global, it's certainly a global recession of, I mean, the US economy shrunk at one point by 30%, 30, a crazy amount. Yet we not only survived as an industry, we did pretty darn well. I've mentioned a couple of times that, when I retired, Stronghold was ahead by 15% of the year before. That's, and I'm sure that other people will say the same thing, because there was so much of that, like, flight to quality. People wanted to get the game that they had never gotten because they loved it. So all of a sudden we were selling Terraforming at a rate that we had never even seen before, etc. So it bodes well for the long-term viability of this industry. And that's just a great thing to say.
Yeah, and once again, if you can have these few more seconds about this business side, board game is a luxury product. Like so, if there'll be consequences of people losing their jobs, and it will happen, and some businesses like hotels, travel companies start losing money and going out of the business. People will start losing jobs. At some point, they will say, "Okay, I don't need this another board game." So what I'm concerned about is the future year, this year, 2021 and 2022. As you said, 2020, we survived. We will see what will happen next.
Very good. So that keeps the score the same. We were both wrong. Steven 0, Ignacy 2. So Ignacy, after a question and a half here, is in the lead handily. Ignacy said, publishers will go for safe bet releases, re-release games based on outstanding IPs. At least, and the way he put that is that at least 10 games will be released like this. So like, that they were a re-release or they reused the same IP. And I agreed, because we've been talking about how important it is to manage, to bring the total number of games down, because, bringing out new games is just hurting all publishers, too many titles. So therefore, what are you going to do? You're going to go back to those IPs, those games that are true evergreens, and you're going to bring out other titles in that line. So what I did was, boy, I did a lot of work for you, Ignacy, this episode. I just want you to know that I spent a lot of time.
We all appreciate that.
Yes,
we all appreciate that.
And I went back and I dug deep into the games released this year. And I had to go pretty deep to find how, if we had truly had 10 games like this. The answer is, it looks like we did. I had to go down to like the 2,500th ranked game. But here's what I found. These 10 games were under previous IPs. Jaws of the Lion, right? Gloomhaven, Joys of the Lion, Eclipse, Second Dawn of the Galaxy, or whatever it is. Yep. Viscounts of the West Kingdom, Pandemic Legacy Season 0, King of Tokyo Dark Edition, Imperial Struggle, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, Disney Villainous, Perfectly Wretched, Seven Wonders Second Edition, and Aeon's End Outcasts. And around that point, I went down to, I was at number 2,500 on the list of the overall rank. And I figured that those 10 definitely qualified, all coming out last year. So I gave you the point, Ignacy. I assume you agree.
No. I gave you the point because I released the Detective Season 1. So it was for the same question, like it was a safe bet release, the Detective Season 1. So yeah, I helped us get these points.
There we go. So so we both you made the prediction and I agreed. So we both get a point. Steven 1, Ignacy 3. Ignacy is winning this after.
I'm losing you. We have to stop recording, but we will remember the score.
Oh, crackle, 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 crackle. We have to end right now. Ignacy is winning. He wants to get a win here. All right. Question or prediction number 3. Steven's prediction first. Another major player, a huge company, think Asmodee in size, give or take, will emerge and be a major force in hobby gaming in 2020. It can be Hachette in France. That was the one that I thought of at the time, but it could have been somebody else. And Ignacy, you disagreed with this, and you also said the lawyers will discuss to see who gets this right. Well, I think that we can agree that really it did not happen. We did not see another major player arise, and certainly COVID had something to do with that. But it didn't happen, so we can't argue like, well, who got bigger or something. No, it did not happen. So it looks like you get the point for disagreeing. Steven 1, Ignacy 4 points now.
And I must agree with you that with this situation, I got to the point mostly because of the COVID. Like it might happen. Your prediction was pretty legit, but yes, when there's a global pandemic, you might consider not buying new companies.
Not buying a new company, not going crazy, buying distributors.
Wait a few months.
Could happen this year. I try not to use the same prediction year after year, so I did not put that one back into this year, though it could happen. We could see something. All right, Steven 1, Ignacy 4. Ignacy's third prediction was there will be 20% less Gen Con releases in 2020 from 2019. And I disagreed strongly with a side prediction that we might see 5% less. Now, let me go through my logic on this one.
Oh my God.
So now you're going to say that, well, of course you were right because Gen Con didn't run. I'm arguing that this prediction was wrong, and here's why. So I looked at the releases in 2019. So I had to compare 2 different years to see what does it mean to be 20% less? So I had to look at 2019's all of the releases for the year. And when you go onto BGG and you put in release year of 1 year, it's so big that BGG does not give you everything. It gives you 50 pages of releases, if you know what I'm saying, right? Yep. It'll come back and then you can click on page 2, page up to 50. That's 2,500 releases because it's 50 per page. Okay. Yep. And I did the math here, by the way. I have this documented. In 2019, at 50 per page, on those 50 pages, the games went up to a game called Rhodes something, Rodas. So it's alphabetical order, right? Okay. So that's 2,500 up to something called Rhodes. In 2020, again, using BGG, 50 pages show up. On page 44, 9th one from the bottom, a game with Rhodes is in there. So you see where I'm trying to assuming the same kind of spread of the alphabet and things like that. You gotta get that. That means there's 2191 games in 2020 and 2,500. That is the comparison I did, which first of all, there were less games done in 2020 versus 2019. Okay. And that ratio is 87.64%. So I therefore say that I win this because it's only 13% less, 12.4% less. That's how I win.
I have 2 comments on
Go
that.
Go ahead.
First, I agree to give you a point because I respect the math that you did.
And the work.
Yes. I agree to give you a point because I'm in a lead and I feel comfortable. But if the score was like 3-3 right now, oh my God, I would argue. At Gen Con, August 2020, nobody was talking new releases. Everybody was still terrified by the COVID, no new announcements, no new most anticipated games, nothing was released this summer. So I give you this point only because I respect the work that has nothing to do with the real world, but whatever, like you did the math.
I want you to understand I also reached out to our lawyers, the Board Games Insider lawyers. It's the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, and they told me right here on this letter that Bonacore gets the point right here on this letter. So that's Stephen 2, Ignacy 4. You're still handily in the lead. Now we go to prediction number 4. Only one game published in 2019, this is my prediction, will be in the top 100 games of the year in 2020. Only one game in 2019 is going to make the top 100 games. And you strongly disagreed with a side prediction of at least 5 games. And you mentioned On Mars, Tainted Grail, and Marvel United. Guess what? There were 10 games from 2019 in the top 100. So again, I was vastly wrong on this prediction. And yes, On Mars is the highest of those. And I forgot what the second one was. But yes, you fully got the point on that one, Ignacy.
I do understand the hype in the industry. I do understand that we all love these new games, that we give them these high rankings, and then we may consider changing the rating. But at the very beginning, our hobby, we are so passionate about the games that if there is something new and shiny, we love it and we push it high in the rankings.
Absolutely true.
Craziness.
Stephen 2, Ignacy 5. Ignacy's number 4 prediction was that Gamma News was going to be 5-1. The good news from inside Gamma will be 1 out of 5. So in other words, all bad news, right? It was going to be an all bad news year. And I disagreed. I said that truly they would turn something around. And I looked back at all of the things we talked about in our news section, in our event deck section. And the bad news, they had the big Black Lives Matter and the election issues for Gamma, the new officers. That was a huge negative to do. Origins Online was canceled after they had made these big plans of doing it. That was canceled. That was negative. And then the Origins Awards, we can remember that it was completely, they screwed it up. Like the nominations that they announced were not the right ones. And then somebody won who wasn't even in the nominations list, but they explained it all bad. But on the good side,
do we have our lawyer on the phone? Because we are going to use him now.
On the good side, there were many hirings within Gamma of some really good people. They put out initiatives during COVID to help retailers. They created a new diversity committee, making a good thing out of bad things that were happening. They created a committee for the Origins Awards, which they still have never called me about. Remember, I told you that I had volunteered and they have not called me. The board itself became very diverse, women and people of color. And they ran the Gamma Expo safely, which was early in the year, but it was right there at the cusp of COVID. And a lot of people did pull out, but there was no sicknesses that came out of that. So I like to say that we have many more good news pieces there than bad news pieces there. And again, I have a letter here from the lawyers of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, our lawyers.
I will not.
And it says right here that that this is true. Bonacore should win this one too.
Absolutely no. So first of all, my prediction, and it was very strict, and I'm so happy that you was writing it, so it is in a right grammar. My prediction was that 5 of the newses compared to 1 will be just hirings. And now all this stupid good news that you said was created a diversity committee, so this is a hiring, created committee for Origins Awards, this is a hiring.
It's not hiring.
Board became very diverse, this is hiring, and Gamma Expo safely, whatever they did. Of course, I put this prediction back then a year ago as a satirical, I think this is the word.
Satirical, almost like a joke.
Satirical comment to Gamma that I find they made too many news about they hired somebody or promoted somebody, and the less about we just did something good. And this past year, I was much more disappointed than I even expected, and I have no high expectations for the Gamma, because the big news from Gamma was destroying reputation of our hobby. Like all these scandals about Black Lives Matter and Origins cancellation, Origins hours issues, like there were only news about either we just hired somebody or we just, I cannot say what they did because Tom will remove us from the friendly podcast. I'm on a serious note. I'm so disappointed with this organization this year, and being for a moment serious.
Okay.
This was probably the most difficult year for the industry in the decade, or like maybe in the 20 years.
Sure.
Distributors shut down, retailers shut it down, publishers struggling to come with the new marketing ideas, to learn how to do online conventions, how to reach the customers in this online era when there is no Gen Con and other ways. So that was the crisis of the industry, and it was the moment for the organization to help out, to start making workshops, seminars for the publishers, to help the retailers. And being super Slavic honest, I have a perception that I did more for retailers, because during the year we did this fund to, if somebody was buying from my web store, I was giving this money back to the retailer if the user put in the name of the retailer. So I transferred my money, my income to retailers in America. I didn't have to do this. I wanted to help industry, right? And I was really disappointed with Gamma. And what I will remember from 2020 is not Gamma doing workshops and helping, I don't know, transferring money to retailers. I will remember that they didn't do Origins. Call your lawyers. I'm not giving you the point this time.
Okay, so the lawyers are discussing this right now, but they're gonna reverse their decision based on that very impassioned and accurate synopsis there of Gamma. So the point is going to go to Ignacy under protest, but the point will go to Ignacy. But I mean, I agree. I mean, they certainly had their sad share of disappointments during the year. So
that was the moment to act. It was the moment to help the industry, and there was silence basically,
or things that didn't work.
Yep.
Right. So we now are at Stephen 2, Ignacy 6. Very well done, Ignacy. And we go to the last question. So it's not looking good for the Podfather here. Usually the fifth question, we do something funny. And I think we both did, or at least yes, we both did. So my prediction was that either Tom Vassell, Jeff Anderson, who runs Board Game Geek and the Board Game Geek cruise, Board Game Geek cons and cruise, or Ignacy Chevicek will have a drink, like a beer with me in 2020. Again, this is sort of COVID issue here. So obviously I only saw this year. I saw Tom because I did go down to Dice Tower headquarters a couple of times. So no one has had a beer with me this year. So I did not.
You were so unlucky with this.
I am not lucky with the COVID stuff. So that makes it, Stephen, you get the point because you disagreed with that. So you're at 7 points and I stay at only 2 miserable points. And your final prediction was that Stephen or Stronghold will do 25 games in 2020, and I'll be a liar again because every year I was saying that I would do less games, and then you said I would do like the same number or more, like 25, and I disagreed pretty strongly, and I actually said it would be 15 or under, and guess what? The number was only around 10. So
there was a COVID influence as well. So with these predictions, we both get a hit from the COVID.
But yeah, but we literally, the company really did make a concerted effort not to do more games. Like we specifically, we took home the usual number of millions of games from Essen last year, and we did like one of them or two of them, I think, a couple of them small roll-in rights, and that was it. We had the ones that were coming out of last year that released in early year. If you remember, early in the year, all of those releases were from the partners, out of Essen that we had already committed to, and that we even had at Essen, but they count for this year because they were officially street dated in 2020. And then after that, it slowed down hugely, and we were expecting to do so. So, Ignacy, I get the point, but too little, too late. Ignacy wins, and that's final score is Ignacy 7, Stephen 3. So handily, you have won for the year, Ignacy. Congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
You're not usually that good, but we'll allow you.
I have a comment.
Yes.
Slavic Ignacy wins in the most terrible and dark year for the industry. It had to be my year, let's face it.
That's great. You win in the darkest year. Okay, I like that. I win in the happy, good years, and you win in the dark years. So now let's get to the 2021 predictions. What will we predict to happen this year? And fortunately, we're doing this nice and early this year. I don't know if you know, last year we didn't do it till the end of February. So this year we're doing it nice and early in the year. I get the first prediction as usual. By the way, Ignacy did very little work on this because in my show notes here, in our show notes, he has not put a thing there, but he says he has it in his hand. He's waving. You can watch him waving it if you go over to watch this.
We need you to write it in the show notes. So in the future year, when we disagree, we have a proper grammar to discuss with the lawyers what was my prediction.
to figure out what Ignacy actually tried to say. Oh, maybe. All right, so my first prediction is a compound prediction. So it's really specific, Ignacy, and you have to disagree with it because it's so specific and so hard for this to happen. I predict that Frosthaven, which we've just talked about, will be the highest ranked game that was released in 2021, and it will be in the top 10 by the end of 2021. And Cephalofair Games will have 3 games in the top 10 by the end of 2021. Obviously, that third one is Jaws of the Lion, unless they do something else during this year. That's amazing, but it could be anything. But those 3 games all have, in my opinion, will be there at the end of the year, top 10.
With the first statement, I would very easily agree. With the second statement, I would consider agreeing, but with the third statement, I let myself disagree. So you will not have this. All these 3 things will not happen. So I disagree, and I see here an easy point for me next year.
I specifically had to go because I knew you were going to agree with me if I made this too easy. And really, you got to try to make the other person disagree. Otherwise, if you just agree with everything, it's not fun anyway. So I'm glad that I was able to get it to the point where you disagree with it. Good luck, Isaac. I'm rooting for you. Make this happen. You're the man. I love this guy. Ignacy, what is your first prediction for 2021?
My first prediction is also, I think the word is bold. I'm not sure.
Bold. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Bold.
So my prediction is that the GameFound crowdfunding platform at the end of the year will have at least 5 campaigns on the platform that reached $1 million or higher. So very successful, very big Kickstarters done this year on the GameFound platform.
So this is the gamefound.com. Is that what it is?
Yes.
And you're saying that they will have, does it include the one that just was it from Awakened Realms?
Yes, I let's say 6. So either 5 excluding or 6 including the one.
All right, let's say they will have had 6 Kickstarter crowdfunding campaigns that
reach $1 million or higher.
I have to predict and type because you're too lazy here. I will disagree, but that is pretty bold. So it's a GameFound crowdfunding total of 6 campaigns over $1 million. And I will disagree with that. I think Kickstarter's lock on this is just too big to allow that many to really happen. I root for them though.
Yes, I agree with you that my is as always like wishful thinking. Like I hope to have
Mhm.
more competition in this segment to have them be successful. So we have these two different platforms competing for the customer. So it is good for the industry. So I root for them, especially because it's a Polish company. So if they will if they will pull it off, and I will get this point, I'll be very very happy.
All right. Let's see what happens.
I need to check if you wrote it right as I
I will
intended.
go. I will make sure I go back and get all the English right. I promise to
Okay.
do it. But you could have put him here a little while ago, so I don't have to like do it on anyway. All right. So my second prediction here, I don't know. I think it's a slightly bold, but I mentioned this. I've actually talked about this on the podcast, and I've said I predict already, so I want to use it. I said that Gen Con 2021 will run in Indianapolis, an in-person convention. Plenty of restrictions will be there. Maybe you have to have a vaccine. Maybe it's temperature checks. Who the heck knows? But they will have an in-person convention. And let me even add a little bit just to make sure that,
That I
if they do
disagree.
it with 100 people, it doesn't count. No, I'm like, so and we'll say that, it has to be at least 10,000 people, right? So that's significant. That would make it,
Yep.
right there, it would make it even if, they're normally 60 or 70,000, of at least 10,000. Okay.
I'm happy to disagree with you.
Really? Okay.
And my gut feeling. So this is like a side note. My gut feeling is that the BGG-Con in Dallas will be the first American convention. So I hope we will have at least one big convention next year. And I think Gen Con is too early. It's too fast. We will see. My prediction.
Such a downer. Go ahead.
My prediction. Seeing what's happening in the industry, and I guess we all noticed that already, is more and more games on the IPs these days, especially with Asmodee and the OP Monopoly, OP Games, OP Monopoly, the name of the company, and Ravensburger putting out all these Disney games. So my prediction is that at the end of 2021, we will have 3 games based on the strong, massive IP reaching the top 100. I mean, of course, there's 3 new games, not the existing ones. So there will be 3 games released in 21 based on the big IPs that they will make it to top 100, because I definitely see a trend among the publishers that they are reaching these IPs to make these games more popular in the mass market.
Okay, so at the end of 2021, we'll have 3 new games.
Correct.
3 new games based on a strong IP, and that would include current IPs like Star Wars and things like that, of course, right? Right.
Oh, let's make it harder for me and easier for you to disagree. So let's cut out all these 5 gems that FFG has. So we are not talking about Lord of the Rings, no Star Wars, no Game of Thrones, and no Call of Cthulhu. These are the 4 they always had, right?
So to make it easy. So just nothing by Fantasy Flight will be there.
Yes,
not
correct.
including
Because
FFG games. Okay,
correct. Because I'm discussing the trend of the whole industry putting more and more these games.
I will take that and say disagree. I generally like the trend, and I agree that there is a trend, but IP games don't always go over that well with geeks.
Mass market. Yep.
They are usually mass market. Mass market games don't necessarily trend well on BGG, which obviously is what we're talking about. So I'm going to go with a disagree. But I mean, I like thematic games, and if you can create a great Harry Potter game, pick something out of my butt, great dripping with themes, I'm all in. I want to see it. I want to play it. I want to check it out. So I hope I'm wrong, but I will disagree with this. All right. So my third prediction is that another CEO or president of a noted game publishing company will announce retirement in 2021, joining the cool old kids club. I was trying to think if I can even make it more restrictive there. But retirement is a very specific thing. Somebody like you are not going to retire, no matter how rich you are. We know how rich you are. That those palatial estates that you have all over the world and things like that. But I think that I'll leave it like this. Another noted game company, noted CEO will announce retirement. Whether they do it based on the fact that, oh, look, Bonacore just retired, why don't I just do this? Or they just, what the heck? They just said, you know what? I can hand it over to somebody else, let them run it. I'm going to go and chill out on the beach in South Florida. Nasi, what do you think?
I will disagree with you because what I believe is that this 2020 was very difficult for the companies. And I think that if there is this owner, CEO of the company, he would prefer to stay in the company in 2021 to be sure that the company is, in a good condition so he can leave. Like, I don't think that this is the best timing to leave. But I must admit, and I'm saying it very seriously, you are the best commercial of going to retirement. Like, you being always smiled, happy with your photos from the pool. Like, at this point, I guess most of the industry dreams about getting to retirement. Like, you are like, oh, this is amazing. Watching how cool it is to be on retirement.
And let me tell you something. I have not yet begun to retire. It's a famous quote from.
So you are tempting a lot of people, and I guess maybe 2020 will see a ton of CEOs getting to retirement. But this is not the best timing this year, I think.
Yes. Okay. So Ignacy will disagree. A lot of disagreements going. I love to see that. I love to see when we disagree with each other more, so we can have more fun in the final prediction. So go ahead, Ignacy. What do you got there for?
This prediction is very crazy because I go insanely specific. Like this, it will happen or not. Like this is like I go like a laser point shot. I say that the game called Micro Macro Crime City. Micro Macro Crime
These
City.
are micro.
Micro.
Micro. MICRO. Micro.
Yes. And
micro.
then macro. And
macro.
then macro. Yep. And then crime.
And then city. Yeah.
Will get nominated the Spiel des Jahres or Kenner Spiel des Jahres. I never understand the difference between these two words, but we are talking about the German award.
Sure.
So this is like super laser shot. I believe in this game extremely strong, and I think if I pull it off, like I'm the master predictor.
Well, I'm going to happily disagree with this.
There is no chance I have any clue what will be chosen.
That's bold. And I talk about a bold prediction. Like, you're 6 months away. I don't know this game. You just love it. You found it. It's going to be nominated, not recommended.
One of the three. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be Kinderspiel des Jahres. It's going to be nominated for
either Kenner Spiel, either Spiel des Jahres. We are talking about the six chances.
Right. I'm okay with that, and I will disagree with it. But that is.
And I get at this point, I will dance here on the camera because
I might give you 2 points for that. Maybe. It depends on how I'm doing at that point.
Oh my god,
that's a great one, man. All right, so I went real ultra business here. Ultra business. And it's a long one here because I got to give all of the knowledge I have about this. Not too long. Don't worry, everybody out there. But this is a true business. We've talked about this a lot on the show. CMON and some of the troubles that they've had once they moved to the larger publicly traded exchange called the Hong Kong Exchange. It's a major exchange. They went from this thing called the GEM to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange main board. But they were delisted. Their trading was halted, not delisted. Their trading was halted, and they needed to do 3 different things to get their stock trading again. So my prediction is CMON will resume trading on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, obviously during 2021. Its stock price at the end of 2021 will be at least 5 times higher than what it is right now, which is 0.074 Hong Kong dollars per share. The price of CMON, they will be trading, and they will be at least 5 times higher than that. If I have to do the math, I don't have to do the math now. We can obviously do the math. It'll be trading at whatever that comes out to, something like 30.35 something Hong Kong dollars per share, at least. Oh, and note, I did put the note here. I do know, and we'll talk about this on next week's episode, that Simon says, I actually went this week and I looked back to see what their filings were with the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And as of December 31st, they said that they have filled all the requirements to start trading again, and they've submitted the paperwork to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. They said, and their auditors say, the new auditors, not the old auditors, they changed auditors, they have done it. Now they have to get the ruling by the stock exchange, and they have to start trading. And then, of course, they've got to rise by 5 times. That's like Tesla stock, like craziness. Ignacy, what do you think?
My comment here is very simple.
You don't care.
My knowledge about trading in Hong Kong is similar to your knowledge about the macro crime city game. I have no clue what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
I disagree just for the sake of don't agreeing with you. Yes. I disagree, and I hope you are wrong, because you pulled out some stupid news that I don't understand, and it was a trap, and I will win a point here.
No, I don't want to be... You understand what I'm talking about, right?
Course,
okay, all right. I want to make sure that I'm not doing something...
I'm joking.
Okay. It is a deep thing, and I wanted to make sure everybody out there understands, and you understand that I did the research, and they are, from their perspective, they're allowed to start, but the exchange has got to agree that they're allowed to start. So I don't know. The exchange might say no.
But I do understand that the bet you are talking is not that they will get back to the trading, because of course they have to go at some point, but you are making a bet that the price will be 5 times bigger. This is the gravity of the bet.
Oh yeah, that price, but because the price is so low right now. By the way, 0.074 Hong Kong dollars is approximately 1 US penny.
Wow,
1
seriously?
Penny. Yeah, well, I should tell you that too, I guess. It's 1 penny US per share, 0.01 US, because the ratio is about it's seven Hong Kong dollars to 1 US dollar, so it's around a penny per share.
Maybe we can buy some shares, and then we will brag that we are investors in Simon.
I thought about it a while ago, but I never did, and thankfully I didn't, because, well, I mean, at the moment it does not look good, but who knows? Anyway, I assume you're going to continue with the disagreement and not change it.
I disagree, just for the sake of disagreeing, and but I wish Simon, of course, the best.
Of course, we do.
Them that they go up, obviously.
We 100% do. Go ahead, Ignacy. What is your number 4?
This one is serious. This one is serious one. I bet that Watch It Played YouTube channel will become the biggest YouTube channel for board games at the end of this 2021, and we will just count it by very simply how many subscriptions they have. At this very moment, the biggest channel about board games is Shut Up and Sit Down. They have 320 subscriptions. The second biggest channel on YouTube for board games is Dice Tower. They have 260 subscriptions, and Watch It Played is the third one with 215,000 subscriptions. And I bet, seeing what they do, how amazing new content they put out, they have a new segments, new ideas for the shows. I say that during this year, they will be not only bigger than Dice Tower, they will be bigger than Shut Up and Sit Down. This is my bet.
So Watch It Play will become the biggest YouTube channel
for board games. For board games.
It takes a long time on these show notes to refresh, because the show notes are so big. And you gave me the top 3, and this is going to be by subscribers, of course, right?
Correct. I can put here even the numbers.
No, you don't have to.
Right
just
now.
Yeah. I'm just making sure I got the stat on how it works. I'm going to disagree, not because I mean this is a good one. I want to just continue the disagreement, because I think it's funny that not one of us have agreed yet. And 320,000 shut up and sit down.
They need to get, in other words, they need to get 100,000 subscribers this year. Yes, to beat Shut Up and Sit Down. Yes,
I would say a lot more than that, but because Shut Up and Sit Down is going to go up, but they have a lot less potential to go up.
Yep.
I agree. So I'm going to disagree. I wish Rodney the best, because Rodney is just one of the nicest, coolest people out on the planet. Love him. Does great work. I look at his stuff all the time when I need to learn a new game. He's the best. But I will disagree because those are some big numbers to try to catch up to. But it's a great prediction.
If I may ask our audio editor, Matthew Jude, Matthew, please work hard so I win this point. Please do it.
Well, how is he going to work hard?
He has a news segment on Watch It Played. Every week, Matthew is
Oh.
doing the news segment for Rodney, and it's amazing. It's funny. It's
I didn't
it's
know
really
that.
with very interesting edits, and Chad is helping them. So Matthew is involved right now in Watch It Play. They're doing an amazing job. So me and Matthew, keeping fingers for Ignacy.
Very good. Very good. All right, my last one, and we normally do the funny-ish ones for number 5. Mine's partly funny, partly like just serious and like emotional. I say that Stephen Bonacore and Ignacy Chevicek will see each other in 2021. Obviously, I mean, like we'll be in the same location at some point. And no, I'm not flying to Poland just to win this bet. So that's a guarantee that that's not going to be how it happens, but so therefore I believe that a convention is going to happen unless you just decide you're going to be coming to Florida, like, and going to Disney World. But we'll be together at a convention during 2021.
I will agree with you because I really, yes, because I really miss you and all other industry friends I have in America. On a Slavic realistic side of the news, I'm not sure how borders and international flying will work in upcoming months. So even though I strongly believe BGG-Con in Dallas will be happening, and if it will be happening, I'm ready to come. Like I made decision that if BGG-Con in Dallas is happening, I'm coming because I miss all of you guys to finally play a game with you. So I'm going there. But the question is if there'll be some international restrictions, for flying if you don't have a vaccine yet or whatever. But I agree, and I will do my best to meet you and Tom and Z and all the gang and my employees, Luke and David. So I hope we will meet.
Funny thing is, I was actually thinking Essen myself when I wrote this. I'm thinking, I think Essen's going to run and maybe but so I think I'm going to be there in Ignacy.
But yes, and I will also help to make it is true. And if possible, I'm coming to Dallas this year.
Excellent.
Even though I'm afraid of flying.
That's right.
And my prediction, I hope you will agree because it is slightly funny, but it is we both want me to score. My prediction is we Board Games Insider this year will be nominated for Golden Geek Awards.
That's not a particularly. Why don't you say we'll win? Okay.
Oh, this is impossible. We will win.
I think we have a good chance. We're gonna.
Last year we didn't even be nominated.
We're gonna talk about this constantly when it comes up. We're gonna force people. We're gonna do some extra shows. We're gonna promise people everything if they nominate and make us win. But all right, BGI will be nominated for a
Golden
Geek
for the best podcast
award. Well, it's got to be. What else are we gonna be nominated for? Like most nonsense? Yeah, maybe. So Stephen will agree with this, obviously, and I think we have an outside chance of winning. I type into the show notes as well.
I think you are trying now to outbid me with my own prediction.
Hey,
score on my prediction.
So if we win, Ignacy,
I will give you a point.
No, well, you'll give me an
extra point. Instead of me. Yeah,
well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, that's very nice of you. But I was going to say, as a reward for me making this bold assessment here, if we win, you have a beer with me at some point when I see you, like within a year of that happening. What do you think?
You may put it in the show notes. I will be so happy winning this award because, as you know, the Golden Geek comes with a big medal, like a metal one. So I definitely need this in my life. So I will drink beer with this medal in hand.
Oh, This is big. I am going to go on an all-out campaign, all-out campaign to make this happen.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's great. Well, anyway, everybody out there, that's our predictions for 2021. And guess what? We were going to ask you now. This is like our playtesting segment. We'll go right to playtesting. I don't know if Matthew wants to play the music or not, but let's go right to playtesting. And the question is, what do you think of our predictions? Are we right? Are we crazy? And who will be more right? Will it be Steven or Ignacy? Who's going to win on this? Right now, Ignacy is going to create this thread on Board Game Geek in our guild, and we want you to comment on this. Now, obviously, we're not going to put in there what the predictions were, so you're going to have to wait a little while. Maybe, Ignacy, maybe we should wait a week until this drops before you actually create the thread, but then you have to remember to do that because no one will know.
Yes, we can left ourselves a note in the show notes, so we can do this next week. You're right.
Okay. All right. So
Yep.
somehow I have to remember that. Put that someplace. Ignacy.
No, just put it at the very beginning of the document, like the up of the document.
And you think we're gonna remember, huh?
I will do it. Don't worry. You just read the final scoring. I'm on it. I got you covered.
Ignacy has to create the thread for play testing. I don't type that fast. I'm old and my fingers don't move that fast. All right.
Well.
Here we go. Let's go over to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Our favorite episode of the year where we try to outsmart each other and outpredict each other. So especially now, help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, to ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, which will be coming back next week. You must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, specifically about our predictions, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. And also on Facebook, Ignacy's page and Steven's page. Please like those, /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgames.pl, portalgamesus.com, and podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, come over, speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. On Instagram, it's the same. And on YouTube, the channels are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, there's a lot of game in there, and the Podfather of Gaming. We hope to see you at an upcoming convention, which Bonacor says could be Gen Con, maybe Dice Tower East even before that. Hopefully that's going to happen soon. Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. And if you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Ignacy, do you have anything special that you want to talk about? By the way, I was going to do something about Terraforming Mars. Yep. I was going to, but Stronghold already announced it. Terraforming Mars, Aries project. Coming to Kickstarter, it's going to be Terraforming Mars, the card game. It's going to be a new take on the thematic game of Terraforming Mars, but that's not anything new because they already announced it. We'll talk more about it next week because I'll give people something I'll tell them something now. I'll tell them that there really is there's a little bit of a board in the game too. It's not 100% cards. They haven't announced anything about that yet. It's just called, like the card game is the subtitle, but there is a little board in there too. There you go. There's a little tidbit. What do you got?
For me, I want to invite every of our listeners to Portalcon this Saturday, January 23rd. I heard that we will have Steven Bonacor as doing a reaction video with the Dice Tower gang, so you can watch these keynotes at Portal Games YouTube channel or at the Dice Tower channel. And so it's very nice of the Dice Tower gang that they will make probably fun of me. I don't know what will happen. But basically, yes, this is very important day for me. Of course, we will announce 3 new titles, 3 new games for upcoming month. So January 23rd, this very upcoming Saturday, check out the information about the event at portalcon.pl and you will see the schedule, the hours, etc. And you can go to our YouTube channel or Dice Tower channel to watch it and have fun. I'm very excited, scared, because I don't know how many people will come and how's my English on Saturday next week. And there'll be a lot of pressure, but hopefully we'll have a great event, and hopefully our fans will be delighted with the new games announced.
I'm looking forward to Portalcon in general, very much so. But I'm really looking forward to doing this reaction video. Tom and I and Z spoke about it already, that we're going to get together and watch it, and like, wow, I didn't know that I was doing it with them. Actually, I thought I was doing my own, and then you were going to ask Tom as well. But I'm happy. That's going to be fun. We'll just do it all together. It should be
awesome.
It should be really good. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening in and watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, you should check that out. You get all our great reactions there. Tell your friends about it, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.